We're at the global unveil of the new Hyundai Verna, and as you can see around me, there is obviously a lot of interest in it. And there's good reason for it. This is a new generation car, and as you can see, it has pretty much nothing to do with the previous car. Not stylistically, not in terms of inspiration, it's all new. Of course, there's a lot of all new bits inside and under the hood as well. So let's get straight to it and begin right here at the front. Now at the front, as you can see, it's got this really what Hyundai call a spaceship inspired design. Lots of cuts and creases and angles, and I can tell you in the flesh it looks really quite nice. In fact, this lower lip extending here on the bumper, my favorite element on the front. You've got the parametric grille which we've seen in the Tucson for instance. The headlights are down below, and I think the defining feature of the front is really this light band or the DRL that runs right across the front of the car. Now it's I think going to be a polarizing design, because some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it. So what do you think? Let us know down below in the comments, and of course don't forget to subscribe and like this video and the Autocar India channel. So let's move over to the sides. Now at the side over here, as you can see, this to me at least personally is my favorite angle of the new Verna. It's really nice and long. You can see a lot of the angular cuts and creases really quite prominently, and I particularly like the roofline because it goes down here into a fastback kind of style. It's not your typical sedan, but it looks really nice and long and elegant. Now in terms of length, it isn't the longest in the segment. That is actually the Honda City, but it has the longest wheelbase, and Hyundai say therefore a lot of room inside, and we're going to pop inside of course later and take a look. But some of the elements here on the side, as you can see, the alloy wheels, multifaceted cuts and cuts around look really good. Up here on the C-pillar, the parametric design that you saw on the front grille, they've done it a little subtly here, and I quite like that. It's not too overdone, looks really nice, and the chrome as well. I don't know if you can pick that up on the camera. It's actually a satin or a matte kind of a chrome, not a glossy chrome. So actually looks quite nice. In fact, it's more silver than chrome. Same with the door handles. So that's really about the side. Let's head over to the rear and take a good look there as well. Now over here at the rear, the design of the Verna, again quite striking, just like the rest of the car. A lot of angular cuts, and if you look at this DRL, actually not DRL, sorry about that, the taillight signature, it resembles, Hyundai says, a big H. So when you look from far behind, you would see a very large stretched out H. Really looks quite nice. I like the fact that it stretches all across the car, and it is rather muted. It's not too glossy, so that looks really nice. The boot, I'm sure you want to see what's the boot like, and well, it is really large, 520, I think 528 liters of boot space. So it's really large, pretty deep as well. So boot space clearly not a problem with the new Verna. Okay, now over here at the rear of the Verna is where you can really appreciate that increased length. Now the wheelbase has gone up by about 70 mm over the previous generation Verna. Now if you've seen our videos earlier of the Verna, you'll know we had criticized the rear legroom, which was quite tight, and well, I have to say now they've done a fantastic job. This seat in fact is pushed back a little bit further. In fact, it's not even where I would normally drive. There's someone filming up in front as well, so they've got it at the back, but I still have ample legroom, so really job well done addressing the previous car's sort of limitation. Besides, of course, the legroom, the width is pretty decent. I don't think 3 would be really comfortable, but 2 would be just fine. You have, of course, a nice armrest down here with cup holders as well. In terms of other features, you've got dual AC vents here, so for the left and right. There's a slot here to keep your phone, and 2 Type-C USB chargers. Now, speaking of room, also headroom, it's not really all that good. In fact, I've got, well, it's sufficient. I've got about 4-finger gap here, and that's also because they've scooped out the headliner here, as you can see, to make some space for your head. So it's not that as ample as the legroom is, but overall, when you're seated in here, you do feel nice and comfortable. And in fact, I've been sitting in here now talking to you, and I have to say the contouring of the seat feels really nice and comfortable. We'll know more when we do go out and test and drive the car, spend some time in it. But right now it does feel really quite nice. Okay, now here at the front in the driver's seat, I have to say I'm really happy because it's a very driver-focused kind of styling and an environment. As you can see quite prominently from the IP here, you've got this angled, in fact it's not a curved screen, they're two independent screens, two flat screens, but this one is tilted towards the driver and it does look really quite nice. It's a 10.2-inch touchscreen. As expected of Hyundai, you know, it works pretty slickly, easy to the touch and quite responsive. And of course you have another screen here as well for the instrument panel. Down below, thankfully they've resisted the temptation to go in for another screen, and you do have dials as well. The only thing that I didn't really like is you got to toggle between the HVAC controls, the AC controls, and of course the navigation. That said though, there are still at least dials and some buttons, so that's really a relief because I think it's a lot safer to use dials and buttons. Now the center console too is cut asymmetrically towards the driver, so everything right from the twin screens here which are angled towards the driver, the dashboard itself, as well as the center console, it's all sort of oriented towards the driver, giving you that cockpit-like feel, and I really like that. It's inviting me for a drive. Stay tuned to our channel. We will be driving it soon in about 2 or 3 days time, and you'll know everything there is to know about the review. Now the other bits around here, the steering wheel, it's a 2-spoke steering wheel. You've got paddle shifters behind here. This is the automatic. You've got buttons on the steering as well with toggle switches for, of course, the volume, navigation and things like that. So quite easy to use. Now the seats here, Hyundai says they are the first in the segment to have both heating and cooling. As we know, Hyundai do have ventilated seats in a lot of their cars and models, and that's something really nice. This one too is the same. There's also a onboard voice assistant, and it understands Hindi and English, so you can say things like AC on karo or seat ka AC chalu karo. But of course it's not a seat AC, they're just ventilated fans, but they work just fine, of course, as we know from other Hyundai models. Now, looking under the hood of the new Verna, now the big news here is there is no diesel. With the new generation, Hyundai have dropped the diesel, and that's really because of the real-world driving emissions. The more tighter emission norms which are coming into play have forced Hyundai to drop the diesels, but we have two petrols. The one that we see here, a 1.5-litre naturally aspirated petrol engine. It makes 115 horsepower, and with the manual box gives you 18.6 kilometers to the litre. Now, it's also coupled to an automatic, which is a CVT, or in Hyundai speak an IVT, but that's what you have. If you do want more power, there is a petrol, again a 1.5 litre but a turbocharged gasoline direct injection motor, and that makes 116 horsepower, making it the most powerful in its segment. It comes with a manual but also an automatic, and there you have a 7-speed DCT. So that's as far as the powertrains are concerned. Two petrol motors to choose from, both 1.5, but with very different outputs, of course. So that, in a nutshell, is the all-new Hyundai Verna. Now, Hyundai have also announced prices for the car today, and they start at 10.9 and go up to about 16.2 lakhs. And we'll have the detailed prices with each variant, of course, up on the screen. Hyundai says the prices are introductory and they could go up a little bit. What do you think about the prices? What do you think about the car? Let us know in the comments, and of course don't forget, subscribe to the Autocar India channel.